Nintendo! Are you excited? Because, well, I'm kind of miserable right now. We had a massive snowstorm here in the Northeast, and yeah, I've been outside trying to free my cars from the shackles of the snow, and it's not happening. You know, it's when you walk into the full depth of the snow, it's up to my knees, and I'm 5'10". So there's a lot of snow out there, and yeah, I just kind of gave up, and I was like, let me make a video. Let me get off my mind off of the snowpocalypse outside. But yeah, it's been a kind of interesting 48 hours for Nintendo. Obviously, I'm more curious about what's looming on the horizon, and we'll talk about that. But obviously, yesterday we had a Nintendo Direct. Kind of. I don't like that they call movie stuff Nintendo Directs, but we did technically have a Nintendo Direct for the Super Mario movie, but then Nintendo announced another dedicated Direct this morning, so I feel like something larger is looming on the horizon, and I think there are telltale signs of that. So the Mario movie Direct, I didn't watch it. Like you guys know, I'm not super interested in these films, in the film universe of Mario. And I understand there are a lot of people that are, and I'm not here to discourage you or disparage you or anything like that. It just doesn't do much for me. I would rather just pop in a Mario game instead of watching a Mario movie, but I get the appeal of it, the family affair. You can take the kids out to the movies or whatever, I don't know, whatever families and crap do. But yes, we had the Mario movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie Direct that happened yesterday. It did get bumped up to April 1st now as far as the release date for the film, so I guess that's cool. And I'm probably just showing Super Mario Galaxy footage of the game because God forbid you show a trailer of a film. That's not allowed. You're stealing Hollywood's money. They need those billions, but keep getting life advice from the Hollywood elite. Anyways, like I said, Nintendo did announce another Nintendo Direct this morning, and that is for a specific game, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, on the 29th, which I believe is this upcoming Thursday, and yes, it is indeed. January 29th at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, there will be a 20 or so minute direct for Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, a Nintendo Switch 1 game, and I think there's a lot of things to take away from that. Now, first and foremost, you have to talk about Tomodachi Life as a game. I actually liked this. It was quirky. It was very strange on the 3DS, but I enjoyed it for what it was. I thought it was funny. I thought it was very random, and when you would put in like very random characters into the universe, it actually made things and like events even funnier. At least in my opinion. Like I remember I had Mr. Burns running around in my town, and he kind of acted like Mr. Burns, which was interesting. But I like the original Tomodachi Life game. I thought it was fun. It was quirky. With this, though, there definitely are a few more questions. Obviously, we're going from a $40 game to a $60 game. What are we doing in terms of value? What are we doing in terms of, what you're doing within the game and all that sort of stuff? But I'm interested. I probably won't wake up for this. I might. We'll see. But, I will watch this. Regardless of whatever, I will watch this one way or another. But I think that this actually kind of tells like a two-tailed story with this, like I said, because if you look kind of beyond just the game getting its own Nintendo Direct with Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, I think it's interesting because this could have very easily been something that was included in an upcoming Nintendo Direct. A lot of people are buzzing about a February Nintendo Direct because Nintendo does a February Nintendo Direct pretty much every year. They just released a new system. Why in God's name would they not be doing a direct? Like, I can't stand these people that go on Twitter or whatever and they're like, oh, I heard there's going to be a direct in February. I've got sources. It's like, you don't have sources. You don't have any. You're just talking out your ass because you're looking at a calendar and you're like, yo, it's February. That's when Nintendo does a direct. They just released a new system. They got to talk about some games and stuff like that. So no shit, Sherlock. You know, you're not discovering any sort of information here. You're just literally looking at past historical things for Nintendo when they have happened and then latching onto it. But small rant aside, you know, people could do whatever they want. I just find it to be funny how people latch onto it. I think there's a bigger story with this, and this kind of getting its own direct, because I honestly feel like this is quite a send-off for the original Nintendo Switch. You know, I'm not expecting to see first-party Switch 1 games at this upcoming Nintendo Direct. Obviously, the focus is going to be on the Switch 2 versions of games, all sorts of stuff like that. The shift in the narrative has definitely changed, and the Switch 1 had a great run. The Switch 1 had a lot of great games, but, you know, it's time to put Old Yeller out to pasture. And I think, in my opinion at least, I think this is the way that they're doing it. They're kind of giving a bit of a send-off to Switch 1 exclusive games, and then it's like, hey, pal, you know, there's a great library of stuff there, but if you want to play the new stuff, you got to get a Switch 2, which I think is good. You know, I'm not a huge fan of cross-generational stuff. I truly feel like cross-generational games can be held back, you know, as far as what they're doing on the modern platform, because even if you just strip away the graphics of it, because graphics can obviously be scaled, you have to factor in gameplay things as well. And maybe there's some mechanics that you want to do but don't work as well on, you know, weaker hardware. So, I mean, but, you know, games are so scalable today. Maybe that's a non-point. But I would just like to see the focus, you know, on the Switch 2, because everything that we've seen from Nintendo thus far either has had a Switch 1 version or has Switch 1 DNA embedded into it. Donkey Kong Bonanza started as a Switch 1 game. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity started as a Switch 1 game. Kirby Air Riders started as a Switch 1 game. Hell, I'm sure Mario Kart World started as a Switch 1 game too. Like, at least the DNA of it. So I want to see Nintendo with, like, the full power. But then on the other side of the coin, you know, we have kind of the elephant in the room, and that is, when is this, you know, big Nintendo Direct? People are already calling it big. They're calling it massive. And when you look at a timeline, it does make sense. You know, it makes sense because all of the games that we know about from Nintendo and some third-party companies, you know, they're mostly dated for the springtime. Like, we're not really extending into the summer and stuff like that. And soon enough, it'll be here. And I am ready for the springtime so that I'm not covered in snow up to my kneecap. Like, do you understand how much snow that is? Like, my feet are freezing right now. But this is my mind. My mind is like, oh, I gotta go talk about some video games for people because I need to entertain people, because there are people out there in the snow working hard, and maybe they want to listen to this while they're working. Or maybe you're stuck at home and you need something to do. So I am coming through and giving you content and opinions on this. So, you know, I think it's going to be interesting. You know, the next couple of weeks will probably be very good. We'll probably get lots of fake Nintendo Direct rumors. And, you know, Nate the Hate made a video today talking about predictions. I haven't watched it yet. I woke up early and I went back to sleep, and then I went out there, and yeah, I'll probably go back to sleep again. But let me know in the comments section down below, I guess, what you think of kind of all the stuff at hand here. You know, did you like the Mario Galaxy movie Direct? Did it live up to your hopes and dreams and expectations? What do you think about the Tomodachi Life Direct? Do you think that this is kind of like, you know, the last larger game for the Switch 1 that, you know, gets a retail release and stuff like that, because I definitely do, and I think that's a good thing. You know, cross-generational is okay, but I don't want to be, you know, a year or two into the system and still be getting Switch 1 versions of games when the primary focus should be on the Switch 2. And what does this all say about a Nintendo Direct, a main Nintendo? Wouldn't it be funny if they did a partner showcase instead? And you know what the bad thing is? I wouldn't even mind that, because I'm very interested in a lot of these third-party games. I want to see what companies are capable of, and, you know, what games are going to be able to put out on this system, and what sort of engines you could see on here. Like, I'd be cool with that. Like, with the Switch 1, it was just, I don't know, because then Nintendo kind of cherry picks and stuff, and you get some weird-ass games in there. You're like, nobody wants to see this, pal. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think of everything in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you for watching this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. I'm going to take these wet socks and pants off, and I don't know, I'll probably keep the wet sweatshirt. It's drying up pretty nice. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.